Money is the root of all evil, or so we've heard. As we continue our series on the most misquoted Bible passages, there's one that hardly anyone could say they haven't heard before. Even the non-Christian probably has heard the phrase that money is the root of all evil. But does the Bible actually say that? So in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 1 through 5, Paul is dealing with those who get caught up in preaching controversies and trying to draw attention to themselves for financial gain. He says, avoid these foolish things. And then he goes on in verses 6 and 7 to say, godliness with contentment is great gain. We brought nothing into this world. We will take nothing out of it. Paul then goes on to say in verse 8 that if we have food and clothing, that we should be content with that. Meaning, if we have God and we have all our needs met, what else do we need? Then Paul in verse 10 utters his famous statement, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Many eager to get rich have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many problems. Paul says in verse 9, contrast that with the people in verse 8, and he says, many who seek to be rich fall into temptation and a trap, and ultimately will fall into destruction because they will seek riches and ways to be rich rather than seeking God. The reason this is important is that while money can be a source of temptation and evil, it is not the source of temptation and evil. There are many sources of temptation and evil that can draw us away from God. And if we think because we're poor and don't have money that we're somehow more holy, then we've deceived ourselves. There are many things, just like the rich have to deal with, the poor have to be tempted by. So ultimately, it comes down to not allowing money or anything else to lead us away from God, especially in what we do in our Christian life. Don't do things because it will financially benefit you, but rather do things because they're right and biblical.